Call to order this regular city council meeting. It is 5:30, and I've asked Ricky, Councilman Thurman, to do the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Our invocation tonight will be given by Pastor Worth Mays of Cowboy Church.
Thank you. Would you bow with me? Father, you speak so often in your word about wisdom. And Father, we all we should desire to attain wisdom. But Father, not the wisdom of the world, but your wisdom. A wisdom that enables us to be a community. A wisdom that enables us to care for others. Father, a wisdom that enables us to function well. So, Father, I thank you for these council people, the ones, Father, that have been charged with the task of overseeing, of making decisions for our community. I pray that you would grant them wisdom, bless them, and Father, that you would protect them. We know that people can be ugly and words can be harsh, but protect them as they follow you, serve us. God, bless us tonight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. We will go to our regular agenda. Number 1, presentation of the citizens' budget. I'm sorry, we have no one for general discussion tonight?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go to regular agenda, presentation of citizens' budget request. Monica Harris, Jason King are present.
Yes, Ms. Lockenauer, I'll just let you, if you want to detail the ones that we did receive.
Sure. So we did receive 4 citizen budget requests. 1 for a cost of living adjustment for retirees. 1 for a downtown sidewalks and streets, drainage on Britton Circle, and then Larry Joe Taylor hot funds request. Those are all 4 in your packet. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them.
We certainly have had one budget workshop, we're gonna have another, and so those are part of the overall packet, and we'll have time to discuss each one of those in detail.
You good? All right. We'll go to number 2, consider approval of appointments to council committees. I have presented to council the committee assignments. I'd like to have a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the council committee assignments as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. If no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 3,
Mayor, thank you for your work on that.
thank you.
I know that's not an easy task, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman. Number 3, facility presentation by Erath County Appraisal District. Jonathan Pringle is present.
Mayor and council members, thank you for giving me the opportunity to come speak with you, most of you again, for the second time. I think we may have been missing one the last meeting. This is since 2015, Erath County, as you all well know, has experienced tremendous growth. Number of parcels within this county increasing from approximately 40,000 to more than 70,000 parcels as of today, which is an increase in over about 75%. During that same period, the county's taxable value has grown from approximately $2.8 billion to more than $7 billion today, while the city of Stephenville's taxable value has increased from roughly $1 billion to a little over 2.2 at this current moment. This growth representing a strong and thriving community, but it also creates significant demands from the appraisal district. Every new subdivision, commercial development, business expansion, and residential property adding to the workload required by the appraisal district to accurately and fairly appraise property throughout the whole county. To meet these demands, the appraisal district has had to increase staffing needs, requiring additional appraisers and data entry personnel. However, our current facility over on the South Loop was not purchased at the time and acquired with future expansion in mind. So with that, an opportunity has more or less, lack of better words, fell into our lap. And the opportunity is to purchase the BMY Financial Building on the North Senator Robert J. Glasgow Loop now. Most of you are well known of that building. That has been brought to us for the possibility of purchasing that building. Our current building being 6,700 square feet, the BMY building being approximately 11,000 square feet, which would more than suffice our needs for future growth as we continue to allow this county to expand and grow in very good ways at that. We currently, in our current building, only have one boardroom, which is rather small if you ask me, limiting our ability to accommodate a large group of property owners and taxing jurisdictions and entities. The space is also restricting our ability to utilize single-member appraisal review board panels, which is a requirement by law. We do not have the space to do that at this time. Both of which, if we were able to purchase this new building, that process can improve all the efficiency and help better serve our taxpayers throughout the year. As Erath County and the city continue to grow, the appraisal district is going to have to be equipped to grow alongside the both of those. And it's not just affecting the city of Stephenville, as we know, it's the county and every other jurisdiction. It all impacts every time a property is split up and added to. So maintaining accurate appraisal records, providing quality customer service, supporting the taxpayers, and meeting statutory deadlines and requirements all depend on having adequate facilities and those resources. The growth we are experiencing is a testament to the strength of our community. To continue supporting that growth effectively, Erath County Appraisal District must have the capacity necessary to meet both today's demands and expectations and tomorrow's opportunities, if you would. The BMY building is more than sufficient for as far down the road as I can possibly see, to the point that I'm probably not going to be at the appraisal district by then. That's a long time from now, in case you're wondering, because I still have quite a few years left. Our current building, in considering whether we could expand on it, we are already property line to property line, side to side. The only thing we could do is potentially go back towards the back of the office, of which at that time we would be taking up a substantial amount of our current parking lot that we use for employees today. And I don't feel that that is the best choice as far as future growth. I'm not saying I couldn't get a little bit more out of it that would buy us a few more years, but I can't make any promises past that, nor do I know where we would park past that. If we start taking out parking that my employees are currently using, we don't have any more expansion further than that. The opportunity for this building at the BMY is more than sufficient, and will allow us for that growth that we've all experienced over the last several years, and fully expect to continue. As I have talked with the mayor and city manager, that we're hoping for more residential. There's already several developments on the horizon, which are fantastic, but I will tell you firsthand, I don't have the staff for it right now. And it's pretty concerning to me to look ahead and realize that there's a possibility my staff doesn't finish appraisal cycle for the year, which in turn directly is going to negatively impact you guys in the city, the county, whichever ISD that it may be in on that property. And one thing, I'm trying to look ahead, as this was a discussion in my future planning a couple of weeks back, couple months ago. And, the possibility that we may have to do something in the near future. And then about 2 weeks after that, I like to say God opened the door and put it in my lap and said, here we go. I'm not saying this is the be-all, end-all, but I think it's a very, very good thing that it has come to us, and it will suffice us for the rest of the time. So in your budget discussions that you have, as I've told you before, I would love to have your support moving forward with the purchase of this building and allowing us to move into a much more efficient and successful plan, in my eyes, moving forward. If you have any questions, or if you think of something later down the road, my door is always open. Come by, give me a call, let me know what you have, if anything, and I will do my best to answer to the best of my ability. If you have any questions now, let me know, Mr. Cook.
I have a few questions.
Please, come on.
For the audience here, particularly for the people here, I'm not sure everybody understands how you're funded. And I think you've got about 18 different
Correct.
Entities
Correct.
that are providing funding for the appraisal district. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, sir.
please?
So the appraisal district is funded by those 18 entities, and it is based on the prior year's levy of taxes each year, so that can fluctuate as your levies may change year to year. At this moment, y'all are one of the top three, Stephenville ISD obviously being my biggest. So based on your levy, and our total budget calculates a percentage, and that percentage is the portion of the budget that you, as City Council Stephenville, pay that share to our budget, and that's how we operate. Appraisal districts are not, prior to two legislations ago, appraisal districts could not go get any financing for anything like this. It was solely at the decision of those entities, respectively. And that legislative session changed that law to where appraisal districts can go obtain financing, just as cities and schools do. We have chose to use through government capital. You may or may not have heard about them, or y'all may have used them before. And so we've chosen to use them to go out and obtain that. And, hopefully the numbers work out. And the numbers that you've been given, that the city manager, Mr. King's been given, are reflective of that from government capital. So, but yes, that is how appraisal district is funded.
So your total budget is?
Proposed as of right now, in the vicinity of approximately 2.8. I'll round up.
Does that include the building?
Yes, sir. That is proposed for 2027. Let me rephrase that.
And the building is approximately 3.5 million?
3.2.
3.2 million. Okay.
And they have an active appraisal on that building that's in the vicinity of 5.2 million, and they've offered it to the appraisal district for 3.2.
The majority of your funding comes from the top 5 or so?
Probably more of the top 3
Entities.
between the city, the county, and the Stephenville ISD is going to be the bulk majority.
ISD is the highest?
Yes, about approximately 34%.
34% of
Yes.
your total budget comes from them. And then it's probably the county and then city of Stephenville.
Correct.
And then Dublin? Or Dublin ISD?
It's going to be Dublin ISD before it is the city. The city of Dublin's only approximately 2%.
Okay.
They're actually a lot smaller than you would think.
You said you were understaffed. About how many people
The
you
comptroller's
have now?
The comptroller's recommendation versus what we have in current is they recommend 15 to 25 full-time employees. We are at 16 full-time, but when you break it down further than that, their recommendation is 10 to 14 on the appraisal staff alone. And I currently only have 7 as of today. I'm budgeted at, I've got 8 technically. I had 1 retire. So
Okay.
we're only at 8 at the current moment.
And you have approximately, what, 6,000 square feet of space?
A little over.
Okay.
Call it 6,700 actually, to be exact.
And the new building,
If my
however, is
measurements are
11,000 or
Correct.
thereabouts?
Yes,
That BMY is in,
that's correct.
okay? Is there some land, isn't there land
Yes.
additionally to the
There's
building?
approximately 4 acres, plus or minus, behind that building.
Can that be separated from it?
It could. Yep. It very well could.
Is that the intent?
I do not see a need in the future for us to need that land. And so I think with time, I think that is a discussion that could be happen, hopefully someone around that property, one of the neighbors maybe, would need that, or a development of some sort.
Okay.
I think that discussion could take place.
When you'll make the decision, when is your decision time? When is it coming up?
The next board meeting will be Friday, June 12th
June the 12th?
at the appraisal district.
And as I understand, you have the authority, or the board has the authority to go ahead and do this and to assess then the different entities that pay into the appraisal district the money, period.
So the June 12th meeting is,
I mean, it doesn't take a vote from the city council or
To
the county
disapprove.
commission?
to disapprove of it, yes.
Okay,
To approve of it, no, you do not have to do anything to approve.
I
You
see.
can not do anything, and it's basically
Approved.
approved. But June 12th is not that decision. June 12th is solely to adopt the final budget, and at that time, that starts a time clock.
and that time clock is what?
Approximately 40 days
40 days then,
to
after
get,
June the
to
12th.
get disapproval from those entities, and if that happens, we would have to go back in and redo the final
see.
adopted budget.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
I yield. I've taken up enough time, thank you.
Mr. Pringle, the
Yes, sir.
BMY building has adequate space for the proposed personnel as well as technology, et cetera, that would go along with the added personnel?
Yes, we've done very well in that department as far as keeping up with technology in our current, so all of that would go with us. And, yes, we would eventually add some more computers and that sort of thing, but we're capable of doing that. We typically do that every year, just in our normal, replacing old stuff and getting newer equipment, if that's what you're referring to.
Right.
Yes, it is, that building is fully set up for everything we would need to operate today if that were the case.
Okay.
At this time, it is
And
already
it has
been set.
adequate parking for
Absolutely.
personnel as well as
Much less the
people to-
handicap parking, and all of that, it's got ample amount of that, which to me is a huge thing, because we don't have that right now. I mean, I have a couple spots out front, but that's it. I don't feel that there's adequate, in my opinion. But yes, that building has more than enough parking, front and back,
Okay.
to serve any need that we may have. And one thing, I hosted a meeting for the entities back in August, September, somewhere in that vicinity regarding the HB9 exemption. And I couldn't even house that meeting in my office. There's not enough space in the boardroom to host that many people. And so we have, thankfully have access to use the new county annex meeting space in that room. And that's where we had to go. Just, for instance speaking, if we were in that building right there, I could have hosted it right there and had more than enough space in that boardroom. And so I just feel ultimately, if you want to talk from a financial perspective, I've considered the options of if we were to consider building a new building, and the estimates of what a baseline of that cost is going to be. I don't think you want to see that number. I certainly don't. I don't have the need for a new building. I have the need for a different building with more space. And this fulfills that need, and what I believe is a much lesser cost in the long run to the entities. You know, appraisal districts, when I sent the initial estimates out to the entities in the preliminary budget, I did what I thought was best, and I put the highest amount possible, knowing that we could work down from that. And I think, Jason would have to back me up, but I believe when I went, that was on a 10-year payback. This has now been revamped onto a 20-year payback, which for the ISD alone knocked off about $70,000 a year. When I put those two side by side, it was pretty eye-opening. I didn't realize that there was that big of a difference between those timeframes. I should have, but I didn't until I saw it side by side on paper. I didn't realize. And so I think doing it this way is, well, I know for a fact it's the least amount of impact that we could possibly have. And so there's not any other options. This is the least amount of option we can get that's going to impact those entities. So.
Well, you understand our concern because you work from a budget also.
100%.
And when you
Yes.
can do something like that,
Yeah.
that will minimize the impact on it, we anticipate an
Makes-
escalation
makes a
of a
huge
small
difference.
percentage, but this helps us in our budgetary process to be able to deal with that on an annual basis.
And I'll be the first to tell you, it just took one person to tell me that when I put them side by side, and I went, oh, okay, I see. So I get it.
So, Mr. Pringle?
Yes, sir.
A couple of things. So, regarding the BMY building, do you think there's going to be additional requests for money to remodel, change, modify in any way?
So what we have done in this with the 3.2 is we believe that anything that we would need to do, we can do out of our fund balance right now. We're going to just basically do any bare minimum things that we need that are immediate. I don't think there's much, I'll be honest. I've walked through there several times and tried to find anything I could find. Because initially, it was recommended that, you know, and y'all, you know, you could do this too, if y'all had this, you know, it's 3.2, you could get 3.5 and you use that 300 to do any additions or modifications that you may need to do. The more I looked at that, I'm not gonna ask you for stuff that I can't guarantee we're gonna use. You know, if I had $300,000 extra, I can't promise you that I'm gonna use that $300,000 because I don't know the cost of every little detail that we might wanna do. So I chose not to speculate. The more I've looked at what we could do, we can do that out of our own pocket for now. And so, no, I do not, at this moment, I do not have anything that would substantiate me coming to you and saying I need more money. I think we would be fine.
That's with the exception of the employees that you're going to hire?
I have enough in the budget to suffice for a little bit. But as you know, I can't promise you that 2 years from now, 3 years from now, I don't add one or two at a time, you know, at a time, but I'm not gonna come into you and say I need 10 more right now. Because just because I hire an appraiser, the more appraisers I hire, the more data entry staff I also have to have. You have to have so many appraisers to a data entry person and vice versa, so. You know, the more I add, the more, then it becomes, you're multiplying quicker. I think right now, I'm looking ahead going, if I could get 2 to 3 in the next couple of years, I would be pretty ecstatic with that right now, considering where we are at this moment. Would I say I would love to have more? Yes, but I can tell you it's not easy to find someone that wants to go to school for 5 years and learn how to do a job, and that's state requirements, much less the state testings that you have to take, and we all know about the lovely state testings we get to take, schools get to take. But so back to, you know, Mark, your question, I don't, at this moment, no, I can't see the need for coming to you saying I need more. I think we have enough in ours to take care of any immediate need that we may have.
And then the other one I have is, I'm sure you've gone around and talked to these other entities.
Correct.
What kind of blood pressure are you seeing?
Initially, from what I said with the 10-year deal, it was a little bit more pushback. Once I recalculated everything and based it on that 20-year, it set most everybody's mood at ease. It was a whole, because I mean, it makes a big difference. When you start talking to smaller districts and stuff like that, you're talking pennies on the dollar compared to the bigger guys. And so at this time, after reevaluating those and those that I've talked to, again, it's a much more doable dollar figure amount. And like I said, that was completely my fault from the start. I should have considered that option, but in my brain, you work, highest down and work down from that. And so I chose to present the numbers that were the highest first, and knowing we could work back from that. And so I guess you could say I learned a little bit there that I should have probably just put it all at one time, but instead I was just going to present the worst first and back off from that. And so once I've done that, I have not heard a negative feedback from any entity at this time, any representative of an entity that I've talked to. I have not gotten anything negative back. They all understand where we're at. They all understand where we're going. But ultimately, I'm having to look at it as a whole, because it is the whole county that I have to cover. It's not just the city of Stephenville. It's not just Dublin ISD. It's not just Bluffdale. That's why, as the packet that you received last week, I presented the county as a whole, and then I gave you your individual numbers. And so I think ultimately that's one thing that I have to focus on is I can't just look at one entity. I've got to look at it as a whole. And believe it or not, the bordering districts that come down from Hood County, even Eastland County, I mean, everybody's growing all around us. It's not just Stephenville. It's not just Erath County. But as we, as we see those numbers increase, the need is there. And looking ahead, that's what brought this whole thing on. And so the more I look ahead, the more I would much prefer to be prepared if I possibly can, to keep ahead of keeping your values and getting every tax dollar that we can get. I mean, I know I may get shot for saying that, but at the same time, that is the case. We're required by law to do that. We're required to appraise all of those properties. That's what I got to do. So,
No. More question. The total, just for the record, the total amount that you would have to increase your budget and assess to the entities that pay into the tax, how much is that?
from prior year,
No, well, from prior year, but what are we talking about in the new building? How much is it gonna cost us on an annual basis?
the annual basis.
Over a
the
20-year
annual
period?
payment estimated right now is in the vicinity of $260,000 a
So
year.
$260,000 a year more from everybody
Correct.
as the total.
I mean, that's not, probably not the
Point.
exact number. That's
Point being, it's
Yes.
$260,000
correct,
from the taxpayers here, regardless of entities
regardless of how you
and
wanna look at
everything,
it.
because it's all tax money
Yes,
that people
that
have
is-
to pay.
That is correct.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Hmm?
I wonder-
I'm through.
Because that sounded a little bit like, it's not 260,000 from city
No, ma'am.
ISD.
No, it's everybody.
It's
This is
across
spread
the
amongst
board,
18 entities. in the- in the-
260,000, okay.
It's everybody.
Because
Most probably don't
When
even know
that
some of
was
the
just-
districts that we have that we do collect on in Erath County.
I just wanted to make sure that that
Yes,
was
no,
very
it is
clear.
not
that
just,
It's not
no, ma'am.
260
No.
per entity,
No,
that
no,
it's
no.
260
Yes,
total.
county as a whole.
Okay,
Yes.
Thank you.
There's 18 entities that are
right.
involved.
Jonathan,
Yes, sir.
your existing building, intention with that?
So the intention is if this were to go through and we're able to do this, we will be able to sell that building. And at that time, there's basically three options. That money can be distributed back to the entities based on that levy percentage as I discussed earlier. There is, let me backtrack just a minute, the loan on the new building cannot be paid back in full prior to the halfway point. So on a 20-year, obviously it's a 10-year, they said they might could get us, and maybe at the 9-year mark, we could have that possibility. We wouldn't be able to do it until then. So if we sold the new building, that money either A, gets returned, B, we can do a resolution, but it will have to be a, all entities agree, resolution that allows the appraisal district to keep that money from the sale of that building. We would keep it in a money market to where it would grow year after year. And then at that halfway point, we would look and say, okay, we've got enough funds, we're gonna pay this off and pay the loan off in full. We could do that. Option C is that that money gets kept by the appraisal district, and we could look at options of maybe we pay a portion of that each year towards the payment each year. We could do that. But again, those last two options, B and C, have to be agreed by all 18 entities. You can't have one saying they want the funds back, and then you guys saying you want us to keep it, and then this guy saying, no, I want you to make payment. Well, it's not gonna work that way. We've all got to be on the same page. So that's something at that time, whenever that may be, we would have to come to an agreement on the best possible scenario at that point.
Thank you.
Jonathan, you feel like you have the full support of your board?
I do. Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, we'll go to agenda item number 4. Consider approval of interlocal agreement with Erath County for dispatchers, and Chief Harris is here.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, distinguished members of the council, asking you to consider approval of an interlocal agreement tonight between the Erath County and the city of Stephenville. Currently, the sheriff's, and this involves dispatch services for Erath County and the sheriff's department in particular. Currently, they are short-staffed, and as we all know, it is our intent in the next few months to go live with the Erath County Unified Dispatch Center, in which all dispatchers will be employees of the city of Stephenville. So what we don't need to do right now is fill those as county employees. We need to begin merging already and using city employees to, one, learn how they do their intricacies, but help them fill those coverages. For example, the county has sent a couple of dispatchers to the Sheriff's Academy and has resulted in those openings. And we are in the process of hiring dispatchers for the Unified Dispatch Center now as City of Stephenville employees and training them. And so what this agreement does is allows us to assign City of Stephenville dispatchers right now to cover the Sheriff's Office Center until we merge. If all goes well, we hope that's around the August 1st timeframe that we will go live in the Unified Dispatch Center. And so this includes billing information where once we go live, they would send us an invoice where they would pay for salaries, benefits, and overtime money for us to cover for them right now. So right now we have 2 dispatch centers, Erath County and the City of Stephenville Police Department. But theirs is shorthanded, and we are doing the hiring now for the Unified Dispatch Center, so until we merge one, again, hopefully around August 1st. Everything is on track related to that now. And this agreement allows for that reimbursement of those services that we will provide to keep their dispatch center up and running until we merge completely and go live. If that makes sense, and if there's any questions or if it doesn't, I'll be happy to answer. And Mrs. Ashley Anderson is with me tonight, our Unified Dispatch Center communications manager, who is managing those day-to-day activities as we get ready to go live for the entire county where we will run that. So any questions, I would be happy to answer.
Chief, you have personnel to do this?
We do. So right now, we are fully staffed, and we have 1 additional staff in training to go forward with that. So we are in great shape right now, and we are currently processing other applicants and getting them in training for the Unified Dispatch Center, and working on our supervisory roles for that as we go forward. So we do, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Chief, is this a voluntary switch, or I'm not sure what to call it for the...
Right, coverage.
Coverage, now. Is this voluntary on the part of our dispatchers?
It is, yes, sir. And so one, we've got to have county coverage right now. We all need that. And so in the event we don't have volunteers on their time off to go over there and work on their day off for that extra pay to cover that, then the county has adopted an on-call system to cover, where they'll call in their dispatchers, and that will be mandatory. So we will not fail, we will not allow the Sheriff's Department 911 Center to fail, but mandatory starts with their employees currently that are there now.
Okay.
If we don't have volunteers related to that.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Other questions?
Do I have a motion?
You ready for a motion? I would like to make the motion to approve the interlocal agreement between the city of Stephenville and Erath County for dispatch services.
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, we will go to agenda item 5, Planning and Zoning Commission, Steve Killian, Director of Development Services. Application number RZ 2026-9643. Applicant Mike McCowan, representing C. Winsett and Gail Reddix, is requesting approval of a rezone of property located at 1042 PR 1428 off Lockhart Road. Parcel R22359 being approximately 42.750 acres of the A0515 Motley Williams 2 house and barns of the city of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas, from agricultural AG to integrated housing R2.5.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Mr. McCown is the representative of the Reddix, and he is asking for a rezone to allow for the construction of single-family residences on this property. If the rezone is approved, construction plans will be submitted for staff review, and then once the approval of the public improvements is passed to Mr. McCown through Public Works, a final plat would come back to P&Z for approval. The Planning and Zoning Commission convened on May 20th, 2026, and by a vote of 5-1 recommended the City Council approve the rezone request. I might mention that the future land use for this property is complete neighborhood, so the intended project would be in alignment with the 2050 plan. And with that, Mayor and Council would be glad to answer any questions.
Questions for Steve?
Mr. Killen, I have one question. Looking at both of these parcels, and they're contiguous to each other, so I think it applies to both of them. I don't see any access to either one of those to any public streets in any direction. Then I may be not interpreting the map correctly, but I don't see that access provided for either one of these parcels.
No, it's a very good observation, and that is something that we have spoken with Mr. McCowan about. Through his research with his title company, I believe he had found a document filed with Erath County, which is a joint access agreement across the Wolf Nursery property. I believe there's some discussion between Mr. McCowan and the property owner regarding that agreement and if it's a valid agreement or not. So as I touched on earlier, if the rezone is approved, then when the McCowan and his team submit plans to us, that issue is going to have to be resolved. Of course, with building single-family homes, you have to have, especially homes, these two parcels combined would be upwards of 320 homes with the density that they could get on this property after public streets and detention. So that's a lot of homes, and they would have to have at least 2 means of ingress, egress, unless they sprinkled every single home to meet the fire department requirements. They have to have at least 2 access points. And so anything over 30 homes, they would have to have at least 2 access points. So it's a great question. Appreciate you bringing it up.
And they have to have an improved surface.
Improved surface, roadway built to city standards, correct.
And I guess I'm not a legal man, but just having right of entry and having a dedicated easement for that is, in my mind, is not necessarily the same thing, but that's what you're talking about would have to be resolved if and when they come back for some future development that's gonna happen on these parcels.
Yes, sir. Even the access across that property, the landowner, I would assume, would have to grant them the ability to build that road to the city standard. So definitely some negotiations that will have to take place between Mr. McCown and his team with the property owners to the west.
And this negotiation excludes the city because you're talking about private property and a private developer. It's really not the city's responsibility to provide that, I don't believe, is it?
No, sir, that would be 100% a civil matter between the property owner to the west and Mr. McCown, should he close on these properties with Reddicks.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Steve, with that access would, so I think everything south of the railroad is also not an improved surface, so would that have to be completed on Lockhart all the way to the railroad track?
All the way to a public
To wherever
roadway.
that is.
Yes, sir.
Wherever that
Whatever-
starts.
Whatever public roadway they have access to, it would have to be an improved surface built to city standards. 50-foot right-of-way, 31-foot wide street, curb to curb.
Okay.
Any other questions for Steve?
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, then I'd like to go to item 6, and I'd like to open up a public hearing on RZ 2026-9643, open public hearing. The time is 6:11. Is there anyone here to speak in favor or against the rezone? Please state your name, address, please.
My name is Mike McAllen, 3116 Grand Prairie, Texas, 75054. Mr. Nix, I appreciate the concern with the right-of-way there, okay? It is a legal easement that was filed in 1953. I've spoken with the Allens a couple of times on this. They've asked me to do one thing, and I've agreed to do this. And I don't have a pen, but they want to bring Lockhart down to the top of where that 212 is at the bottom. All they've asked for me is to give them an engineered road design, which we have agreed to do, you know, pending our approval for obviously zoning, because you don't want to spend money if you can't build on the property. Okay, so that is the discussions that I'm having with them. They're cordial, they're moving forward. They've actually said to me, go get your zoning and let's keep moving forward to get this done.
Okay.
So that's been good conversations. I wouldn't be here if I felt it was a waste of time. Okay, we've contracted one of the largest architect firms in the Metroplex to draw a design for what everything's gonna look like. Okay, these are people that actually do work for Jerry Jones, so they know what they're doing. They're designing amenity centers, they're doing the whole bit. So this is a project that in 30, 40, 50 years, you're gonna be proud that you approved. This isn't gonna be junk homes.
And
Okay.
can I ask why R2.5 instead of R1?
So our 2.5, but density's one.
Okay.
Okay, the price of land, you have to have some density. The other issue with that is cost. Okay, I don't know if this city can really carry 300 or 250, $500,000 homes right now, but it can carry $400,000 homes. Okay, the reason we're doing 2.5 is it gives us some flexibility after, because we haven't done engineering yet, so we don't know what we're going to uncover during engineering. There may be a particular piece of land that we need to do some townhomes on because we can't do a home right there. So it just gives us flexibility and to make it look like something different than Army barracks. Okay, you know, we're looking at maybe some townhomes in the center, in a traffic circle that spreads out. So when you look at it from above, it looks like a star. You know, something that's going to give you guys pride that you did this. Okay, but that's the reason for the 2.5 is it allows flexibility. It's not that I'm going to go in there and put a bunch of 3,000, lots. In fact, the lots we designed are 5,000 square foot. That's the reason for that.
Is your intention then to develop both lots simultaneously?
It is.
Both plots?
Both sides simultaneously. Yeah, for cost, it doesn't make sense to not do that.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, we'll do everything at the same time, By the time the second phase is started, we'll start on the amenity center, which is gonna have a weight room and a pool and pickleball court, basketball courts. So something that's nice. Okay, so that answers your question, I hope?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Okay. Are there any questions from anybody?
How do you intend to, how do you intend to meet the requirements the city is going to have with regard to access for the fire department from the two different directions?
So if, let's go, can we go worst case scenario?
Yeah.
Let's say I have to use that road right there that I have the easement for.
Okay.
We would sprinkle the homes,
I see.
okay? Which is, we've already met with the fire department, we've talked to them, we can do that if we have to. Don't want to, because that's not what we want to do. We want to build that road, we want to give Mr. and Mr. Allen what they're asking for and respect their land, okay? So I've called them, talked to them, we drew kind of a design what they're looking for, so I know what they're looking for. I've had them in touch with my engineers, okay? So that's how we will be able to reach that. Okay? We may have to start at the beginning to sprinkle, but that would just be the first few homes until we can get that road completed.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? And I have a book if you want to see it, the last thing we designed.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Is there anybody, yes, sir. Is there anybody here that's against the rezone? Okay, if not, I'm gonna close this public hearing. It is 6:16. And I'm gonna go to agenda item 7, that's to consider the approval and ordinance of rezoning the property located at 1042 PR 1428 off Lockhart Road, parcel R22359, being approximately 42.750 acres of the A0515 Motley William, two house and barns of the city of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas, from Agriculture AG to integrated housing R2.5. Do I have a motion?
Mayor, I make the motion to approve ordinance 2026-0-0-14, rezoning 1042 private road 1428 from agriculture to R2.5.
Second.
I have a second. Discussion. No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We are going to go to agenda item 8, application number RZ 2026-9644. Applicant Mike McCowan, representing the C. Winsett and Gail Reddick, is requesting approval of a rezone of property located at 1163 PR 1428 off County Road 498, parcel R22380, being approximately 41.310 acres of the A0515 Motley William of the city of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas, from Agriculture AG to Integrated Housing 2.5. Steve, you're up.
Mayor, Council, thank you. Same development, just the adjacent property. I have no additional comments unless you have questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Then I'm going to open up a public hearing on RZ 2026-9644. The time is 6:18. Is there anyone here to speak in favor or against the rezone? Okay, then I will close the public hearing at 6:19. And we'll go to item 10, consider approval ordinance rezoning property located at 1163 PR 1428 off County Road 498, parcel R22380, being approximately 41.310 acres off the A0515 Motley William of the city of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas, from Agriculture AG to Integrated Housing 2.5. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I would move that we approve ordinance number 2026-0-15 rezoning the land from agriculture to integrated housing R 2.5.
Have a second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Go down to financial reports. Monica Hare, Director of Finance, budget, or agenda item 11. Monthly budget report for the period ending April 30th, 2026. Thank you, Monica.
Mayor, Council, April is the 7th month of our fiscal year. When we reviewed the financial statements, the indicators are overall as or better than we would anticipate. For our property tax, we received $71,000 in April. That resulted in a $578,000 increase in the funds collected last fiscal year to date. We've collected 99% of our budget. That's about $72,000 more than what we would have anticipated. For sales tax, we received $725,000 in April. That resulted in a $524,000 or 9% more than the funds collected last fiscal year to date. We're at 65% of our budget, and that's about $531,000 more than what we would have anticipated. Of the $39 million received to date, 48% was received in our general fund, 29% was received in the water wastewater fund, 9% was received in our capital projects fund, 5% was received in the landfill fund, 3% was received in our airport fund, 2% was in our stormwater drainage, and also 2% in our TIF fund. The remaining funds received 1% or less. We received 74% of our total budgeted revenue through April. That's $1.3 million more than anticipated. That's due to taxes and charges for services. We received $8.3 million more revenue than last April fiscal year to date, and that's due to taxes, charges for services, debt proceeds, and interfund transfers. Of the $31 million that we've spent to date, 54% was expended in our general fund and 30% was expended in the wastewater fund, 6% was expended in the landfill fund, and the remaining funds were 3% or less. We've expended 45% of our total budgeted expenditures through April. That's $14 million less than anticipated. That's due to personnel, contractual, capital outlay, debt service, and interfund transfers. The debt service was related to the tax note that we did, which that goes out a year. We were going to do it as a public property finance act contract, which we would have paid some within 6 months of closing. Of the $3.5 million, we spent $3.5 million more in expenditures through April than we did last fiscal year to date. And that's due to personnel, operating, and transfers related to capital outlay. CETA has received 64% of their budgeted revenue through April. That's 37% more than last fiscal year to date, and that's due to taxes, and 38% more than anticipated due to taxes and interest. CETA has spent an overall 56% of their budgeted expenditures through April, which is $18,000 more than last fiscal year to date, and that's due to contractual and capital outlay, and $32,000 less than anticipated due to personnel and grant disbursements. Are there any questions?
So, Monica, back on the charge for services, why is that so much more than what you anticipated?
So some of it is timing when it comes in. We kind of guess, and some of the stuff comes in pretty regular, like the stormwater drainage, because it's based on, parcel size. But then you have water, and that can depend on, whether it's wet at the beginning of the year or dry. And so we kind of we look back at the previous year and how it come in, and that's kind of how we budget it, but each year is not always the same. And then too, with your permits and your ambulance, nobody knows how many ambulance rides we're gonna take and how expensive that will be and how that money's gonna come in, so. But.
His department.
Well, yeah, the licensing and permits, it just varies greatly.
But you still expect that that budget number to be, to level out by the end of the fiscal year, you think?
It depends on how much rain we get between now and the end of the fiscal year. So, I try to, when we do our budget, I try to, on the consumption, I try to look at like a last 3 to 5 fiscal years to kind of see how that goes. But, you know, you just never know. If you have a really wet year, then your revenue's down. If you have a really dry year, then it can be really up. And, you know, with the permitting piece of it, you know.
Why are you blaming him?
Well, no, his is a smaller part, but, you know, when you get a big thing like the stadium come in, that makes a big difference than if we're just talking a bunch of small residential or smaller commercial builds. And then with your ambulance, it, you know, that's, I mean, we don't want to wish bad on anybody to have to ride an ambulance or anything, but you don't know if you're going to have larger transports or smaller ones.
Maybe Chief could start selling tickets.
We don't want to do that either. So anyways,
This is probably the best way to say it on the water side of it, and we have noticed it over the last 2 or 3 years. Our citizens have done a wonderful job on the water conservation side without us really asking anything, and we are selling less water.
But we will look at that over a rolling period. for budget.
yeah, I tend to, we keep a kind of a spreadsheet of our consumption and how much is industrial and commercial and residential, and then what the usage was for the year. And so when we try to figure out how we're gonna budget it, we don't just use like 1 year, we'll do a 3 to 5 year kind of look back.
Thank you.
Even that's not perfect.
Questions? Thank you, Monica.
Mhm.
We'll go to the consent agenda, and we'll, unless someone wants to pull one out, we'll pass all the consent agenda at the same time.
Mayor, I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes on the consent agendas. Comments by the city manager?
I don't have anything today, Mayor.
Thank you. Comments by council members? Start with place one.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. I just want to remind everybody about this weekend. We have Wings and Wonder at the airport on Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 12. And then Moolah Fest, of course, is going on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So, no, wait, I'm sorry. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And thank you, Miss Glasgow. And we also have cars and coffee. I'll get it out in a second. At the courthouse this Saturday from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. So come get a coffee, come see some airplanes, come to Moolah. Lots of great music and rides and shopping great for everybody. So.
Thank you. Place two.
Oh, I'm sorry, one last thing.
Sure.
She's gonna kill me for this, but I doubt she's watching. I would also like to thank a belated birthday to my sweet mother on the 30th. So, anyway, now I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Cook.
I have no.
Mark?
I got a couple of things. Had a problem with a water bill for one of our places last week, and I came in to talk to the folks there at the water department, and from Diana, who was out front, and the ladies in the back, I just want to give them a shout out. I was there for, I don't know, 25 minutes or so. They were diligently working on my problem. At the same time, I think multiple garage sale permits were issued. 2 people came in and signed up for new service for the water. A couple of water bills were paid. So really appreciate the help that they gave me in resolving my problem, but it was refreshing to see the customer service at that desk, the ladies out front and the ladies in the back. So just a shout out to those guys. And then secondly, Leanne mentioned the event at the airfield at Clark Field this weekend, and last week Sean, who's the airport manager out there, he ran up to me, he was just giddy. And he said that from the lawn by the terminal building, he could look down to the south and he could see heavy yellow equipment moving back and forth, not on airport property, but just south of the airfield. And that represents the first step of a runway extension project that is about 14 years old in Stephenville, Texas. So a lot of agencies and entities involved with that, and it slows everything down. The city has done everything required over that time period to make this happen. And my exhortation to everybody would be that you go out to the airfield this weekend, enjoy the planes and all the activities that are going on, but take a look at the airfield, because next time you get out there, hopefully it's going to look a whole lot different. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Matt?
Speaking of exciting things happening, I was at J.C. Park on Sunday, and they were out there working on Sunday, getting ready for the new splash pad that hopefully will be open at the end of summer, so that's something positive to look forward to in the Parks Department as well. With it being summertime, the Stephenville Public Library has weekly events. You can see their full schedule online. I found it on Facebook. A couple exciting things happening this weekend at the Public Library is tomorrow is Stephenville Fire Department Day, and they will be there with Sparky the dog. And we all know we love our Sparky mascot guy. And then Thursday the 4th at 4 p.m. at the Rec Hall, they have the Creature Teacher, which I know the kids at Stephenville ISD, she comes through there and they really enjoy it. So I encourage you to take your kids out to the public library this summer and enjoy the activities that they're putting on for the community. Also this weekend, we have 70 teams signed up for the Moolah Baseball Tournament. So that's people coming into the park, spending money in our community. And I'd like to take Darren and Small Town Select for getting that put together for us. And then, as Chief Harris mentioned earlier, the city is currently hiring dispatchers. And you can find that application online through the city website. And only because we're not going to be here before, I'd just like to wish everybody a happy 4th of July. That's it.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. Thank you.
I just want to thank the citizens that got their budget request in. I know there's been years past that's advertised and you hit just crickets and nobody participates in that. So it's always good to see citizens that are speaking their voice and at least making a request. And also want to thank city staff and the county for continuing to work together in several different areas, emergency services and several other areas. It's always good when those entities can work together to make our entire city and our entire county better.
I don't have anything.
Mayor, I'm gonna tag on to a couple of other things. I'm looking forward, and Mr. King and I have talked about this, we're gonna have a fantastic fireworks display on the 4th of July to celebrate the 250th anniversary of our country. There's gonna be a number of things going on in the park July 4th with the bands and other things that are coming in. I encourage our citizens to enjoy all of those things that the city and a number of other sponsors have helped us provide for the city for many, many years. And I think that's one of the significant things about our community is we do our best to provide entertainment and good things for our citizens as well as the things that they expect every day, but sometimes we go above and beyond. And I think the 4th of July is one of those things when we go above and beyond, and looking forward to seeing the aircraft come in over the weekend.
Okay, then I'm going to call an executive session. We are going to now recess the regular city council meeting for executive session in compliance with the provisions of the Texas Open Meetings Law. Subchapter D, Government Code Vernon's Texas Codes annotated in accordance with Section 551-087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations, Project Stanley. It is 6:34, and we'll be back. It is 7:01. We'll reconvene the regular meeting from executive session. We have no items that have taken any action, so we will adjourn this meeting at 7:01 and we stand adjourned.